We are back. We are live. It is, I don't even know what day it is, but this is the Helping Friendly podcast. This is Wednesday, maybe Tuesday, Monday,
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yeah, it's the middle of the week. It's hump day.
It's the middle of the week, but it just started somehow, but it's almost over. So I guess that's good. Okay. I'm RJ. I'm here with Megan and Brian. Hey guys.
Yo.
Hey.
Yo. We have a lot to talk about today, obviously, because we do have this important Mount Rushmore that has apparently been stumping people for centuries now, or at least hours. So
days, weeks.
Are you going to be able to do it, Megan? Are you going to be able to do it?
Yeah, for sure. I'm making a game time decision. It's thrilling.
Wow. What a day. What a day. What a decision. You guys are all tuned in. This is like the decision, Brian. This is kind of like the decision, the primetime program.
Remember when LeBron he did the dramatic pause and he was like, "This is a tough decision," and then he stumbled over this season I'm going to take my talents and it's like Megan's this season I'm going to take my talents to. Is it like a 1993 2001? Is it a 1998? Is it like a really transgressive decision and go with a 4.0 version? Stay tuned.
It's going to be wild. It's going to be wild. First, we do have some voicemails we have to air out here. There's one in particular that's gonna be directed at Brian and complimenting Brian, so that's good. And then we have one about Rushmore. So can we listen to the first one?
Oh, go ahead. Will I take the compliment as well as RJ took the compliment about his hair pre-show? Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. All right. Stay tuned, everybody. Stay tuned.
Hey, RJ, Brian, Megan, whoever is listening, it's Rachel Molly. RJ, we know each other. Brian, we've met. Megan, we haven't met in person. I'm only about 10 minutes. Confession time. Haven't listened to Osiris Helping Friendly Pod for a while, but it's a joyful place. So I'm back here. And do you have to be there to get it? I'm like 10 minutes into the episode from I guess last week. And absolutely, I am in agreement with Brian. I'm in agreement with what Megan just said with art. It's so true. You can appreciate the art without seeing a Jackson Pollock in person. Well, she said Picasso or Hockney. Case in point, I'll try to find a place to. It's hard to figure out how to do those reviews on podcasts. Wherever I get my podcasts, I use the purple on my iPhone for podcasts. I'm clicking on those three dots. Report a concern? No. Go to show? How about I'll go to show?
In real time.
Oh, follow you guys. Here's the deal. And I realized this really. I mean, I've realized this for a while, but when they tease, we're talking about Fish, the best band in the land, the Fish from Vermont. When they tease various songs, at least for my own personal experience, often I do not hear those teases during the show. It's only post facto, after the fact, that I'll see a liner note or a fishnet note, or people will talk, hey, did you hear when they teased that? I'm like, no. Or you thought you heard something, but it's then when you go to the official fishnet and you see, or people talk about it, but it's really when it makes it to those footnotes, you can re-listen and you're like, how did I miss that? Because sometimes even when you are in the venue and you're there experiencing it and you're fully sober, let's just say, in my instance, you're fully there, you're listening, you're experiencing, substance free. It's not like, oh, I was so, drunk, I didn't hear it. No, not for me. But case in point, 12/30/24, when in the encore, and I wrote about this in Surrender to the Flow, in their encore with Harry Hood, we got a Hanukkah Harry Hood there. And Mike teased, I have a little dreidel. Well, I didn't hear that during the show. So I listened to that 12/30/24, ad infinitum now, because it really was a very special night in my book and in every other Jewish person's book because it crossed over with Hanukkah. 4 nights Hanukkah, 4 nights of shows. So yeah, I'm gonna.
Okay, so that's where Rachel cut off because there's a 3-minute limit, and I just want to play the very beginning of her calling back because this is the part that Brian will like.
Hey, hello, Big Friendly Pod. It's Rachel Molly again. I am still listening to Do You Have to Be There to Get It as I'm driving the mean, heady streets of Lower Merion. Brian Brinkman, you are phenomenal. We met at
Aw.
when you guys were doing a broadcast like a couple years ago when I was out there. It was not 20. Ooh, when was it? Oh gosh, maybe 2023. I think it was my first Dix, and Benji was there, and Stephanie Jenkins. I think maybe it was a Mockingbird thing, and Brian Brinkman. You were there. Anyway, about the cost, you are spot on. You are so correct that there are some people for whom resources are available, and actually many for whom they are not, whether they are financial or logistics or family obligations, but particularly the financial. I will say though, just like kind of like as a, a nod to this, which is that I think it's always been this way, to tell you the truth. The $18.50 ticket still was like a decent amount of money. It wasn't like cheap. And yeah, sure, people were more camping and they weren't in hotels and all that, but like you still, summertime, you still needed to have like a non-job where you could travel or like save up money or have the money to travel, to do summer tour in 97. So, you're it's very correct. I mean, and also where did fish start its roots? Like prep schools, sleepaway camps, UVM, like for the most part, the demographics skewed towards more like, comfortable upper middle class. But the truth is that there are always people, part of the scene, who love the music, who did not come from that background. Maybe people like were at the prep schools, but maybe the parents were like overspending or living above their means. So yeah, for sure, I agree with it. Yeah, Brian, you're awesome. You are correct. I agree 100%.
There we go. Brian, you're awesome. And she agrees with you
Facts.
100%. And Rachel, thanks for calling. Rachel also has brought me before. She's brought me fresh baked challah bread sometimes. Amazing.
Whoa,
Yeah,
that's
it's pretty
killer.
serious. So, Brian, do you have any reaction to all those compliments?
Amazing. Thank you, Rachel. I feel all warm and fuzzy for being correct. I mean, I think she's right though. I mean, about her second point, there's the scene definitely does skew in that sort of manner. So like it's always kind of been this sense of you either have the ability to or you don't have the ability to. And I think that when it was less accessible at home, the people that were drawn to it in a lot of ways were able to be there. But one just quick thought, her first point about like teases and not being able to recognize teases in the show. This is something I've always thought about when I'm there. There are times where like they'll get, 7 minutes into what eventually becomes like a 27-minute long chalk dust and you're in the venue. And by minute 7, I will unquestionably think, oh, this has got to be the greatest jam they've ever played. And it's not. It's like 7 minutes into a jam that could like end up being a 9-minute long chalk dust. And so like I think that there is a tendency when you're there to like have that feeling of like life is blurred a little bit and you have a sense of like if it's good, it's like it's really, really good. And if it's not something you want, it like feels that much longer than like if you're at home and you can kind of just walk and do laundry while they're playing My Soul or something like that. So I think she's absolutely right. There is something blurred when you're in the venue that does change it from when you're at home.
Which is part of the magic and why we all love to be there, right? There's
Totally.
something so special about being in a room with 20,000 people or outside with 20,000 people and experiencing that together and that moment of creation together. That's just, you can't replace that at home. And so it is a different thing, which is why I really do think about it as two different kinds of listening. But I appreciate that. I also never hear teases, even if I'm listening super closely. So I get that.
Some people
I never
can
hear them.
hear it immediately. Other people that just passes them by and they're like, oh, you heard it? Okay, cool. Thank you.
I have heard like maybe 3 or 4, but not at a show, always when I'm listening. And I'm so proud of myself when I do. It's very rare.
It's pretty cool. It's a big accomplishment.
Thanks.
Okay. Well, thank you, Rachel, for calling, and nice to hear from you. Okay, so we are getting into Mount Rushmore, I think. Is there anything else we need to talk about? We're ahead of schedule here, but it seems like maybe we should just get into it.
I guess while we have people and while we're ahead of schedule, I can back us up a little bit and just give a quick preview of what's to come. Does that sound okay to you, RJ? You into that? Okay, I got the thumbs up from the production room, so we're good. It looks like RJ's packing for his European trip
I'm
right now
moving
while
things
he's
around.
podcasting.
I'm moving things around. Putting piles of paper over
So
here really quick.
so today we're doing 2001. Next week we are doing Karini's Mount Rushmore.
Wow.
So start planning
Yeah,
for that.
there's a lot too.
Um,
There's a lot of them that we're listening.
There's a lot of
to.
really good ones. I
Mhm.
think I'm pretty close. I'm not there. That will be our last draft though until early August because
Wait, our last Rushmore, you mean?
thank you. Our last Rushmore. Thank you. Producer said not a draft. That's a Rushmore. Until early August, because we will be starting our focus on summer tour, bunch of summer tour recaps, all that happening. But the following week, June 9th, that week, we have our summer 2025 venue draft. And I want to make a proposal on air to you guys about that because I think there's a fun way that we can do this.
Oh God.
No
Okay.
stress.
First of all, I can't believe it's 2 weeks away. Like, I definitely need to start prepping for that. But the Carini episode is huge
Can you-
too. Okay.
Can you just let me make a proposal on air?
Yes. Go ahead.
No stress, no prep. We just go into this and we pick our shows. Let's just have some fun. There's no reason anyone needs to get
Sounds
stressed out
so
about
good.
that.
That's how I
Right
do
there
all the
with the
drafts.
RJ crew.
Super fun.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. No prep.
And Megan won't do it.
I
She says yes.
I
She
just
says
can't
yes.
do that. I just can't do that. But
You
yes,
can. You
I'm
can.
gonna say yes to you, and then I'm just gonna do whatever prep I can. So
You actually
no
could do
prep.
it. I'm just
She
saying.
could.
Mm, I
I
think
think
I
it'd
would be
be
too nervous.
fascinating to see her try because I think
Yeah.
she
No,
could do it.
This is
I do
total
too.
sabotage. I'm just gonna say because this is like fascinating to see me try and fail. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Nice try, Brinkman. I'm
Oh
gonna
my
I'm
God.
gonna be prepping and good luck. That's all
Wow.
I have to say.
Wow.
Telling a teacher not to
Nice.
prep from the incredible
I-
prep. He
Yes,
knows.
thank
He
you.
knows. He
Thank
knows.
you.
Okay.
I
Four
also
and
will
can't
seven
help
seven with
thinking.
the underhanded accusation here. Brian will still prep. I'm just hanging
Yes.
out, man. I'm just
He
hanging
knows.
out.
He knows. Brian's
Guys.
already prepped, which is why hilarious that he's telling me not to. He's like, Meg, let's just not prep because he prepped.
I just
like
want
3
you to have a
months
good
I
ago.
think he's
time.
being sincere. I think he's being sincere. And
I
I'm
Thank you.
do. So, do you not think I have a good time at these drafts?
I know
I
you
think
definitely don't.
I think you tend to spend the 10 days before drafts like working yourself up into a frenzy. And I think it could be fun for us all
she's
to
right.
just like
He's right
chill
about
out, get ready for summer tour. There's a lot of work coming up. We're gonna have to like in the moment know what's going on Fish Tour without being in the room for all the shows. Oh my God, what are we gonna do? I think you should just hang out, have some fun.
But Brian, do you think that maybe I like getting worked up into a frenzy a little bit?
It's a fair point. This is a part of your personality that
I
we
kind
can't
of
do without.
enjoy like doing all of the work and being a little anxious about it and then coming on and trying to deliver. It's kind of what I'm into. So
The prep and
I'll-
chill.
the present
The anxious prep and then the chill.
Yeah,
Well, I
it's
just
like
wanna-
acting
I'd like-
to me, you work really hard and then you go on stage and you just like throw it out the window and see what happens.
I'd like to just say that I will, Brian, in solidarity with myself, and probably I'll be the only one who will not prep. We'll just do
Exactly.
it. I'm gonna do it for you guys.
I haven't looked through.
RJ will
through the
win this
list.
one. Just like how he
I've
didn't
been-
prep for the one.
I've been catching up on new music and enjoying the jam band break. And so I'm kind of like, do I have to listen to like 45 Fish shows to get myself ready? Like right now, like, do I have to right now? I guess I do. Now that Megan's
No.
putting all this pressure on us, I have to.
I think you don't. I think you don't. I'm
You
just
could
telling
both
you guys,
do it
it's
without
always
prep.
option.
I couldn't.
always
And
an
I
option
love
not
you
to.
both for it. But
Cool.
It's
we'll
always
see.
an option
Okay.
not to. So next week's Carini, the following week is the summer 2025 venue draft. Prepped or not, we'll be doing that.
Yeah.
That's going to be a ton of fun. Let's now that RJ has finished packing for Europe, now that Megan is prepped, let's turn to 2001. How about that?
That sounds great. Sounds
Let's
really
do
great.
it.
Megan, are you gonna kick us off here?
I'm going to kick us off. Yeah, because 2001, it was really fun looking into this and kind of remembering where this song came from, because it was originally written by this German composer, Richard Strauss, and then interpreted by a Brazilian keyboardist, Emor Deodato, on his 1972 album Prelude 1972. But it's based on a tone poem from 1895, and it was also made famous when featured on the soundtrack from the Kubrick movie 2001: A Space Odyssey. And it's one of the oldest compositions that Phish has ever covered. And the version on Deodato's album is a disco-inspired version, which also was featured in another movie in 1979 called Being There. So this is a really heady song. It's got cinematic connections. It's got orchestra, big time old composition connections, and it debuted for Phish, their version, on 7/16/93 at the Man, where it opened the second set of a really great show. It often opened second sets and led to big tentpole jams in its early years. It even comes inside a Harpua at Sugarbush in 94 in its 1-year anniversary. And Halloween 1996, Carl Perazzo inspired the band to extend the lead-in to the ascending stanzas, which really stretched out the song. And I think this song is interesting because it has some really incredible versions, but the concentration of the strongest versions to me are in late 1.0 era, like specifically 98 to 2000. So it really benefits from that late 90s, early millennial Phish. It's got the cow funk inspiration, which kind of enhanced the groove and the tightness of the song. And then the ambient space, trancy, millennial sound of 99 2000 gave the intro and the ascensions really a lot of intrigue. It's also been played a lot. The show gap sometimes hits up to 14 kind of a few times, but mainly it stays below 10, and then mostly in the single digits. It's been played 270 times, which Down with Disease was played 330 times. So it's been played a lot, like almost as many times as Down with Disease, which is pretty wild. There are 68 entries on the jam chart, so about 25% chance of jamming, which is kind of a bit higher than I was expecting. Lately, it seems to be occasionally contributing to some fourth quarter slides, but it did open a great set too on night 3 of Mondegreen, despite also killing 12:30 in the fourth quarter last year. But it's an interesting song. It's a great song. I think starting off a set with it is really its ideal place. We had 12 versions that Brian curated for our HF Pod top versions, and half of them are on Live Phish and half of them are not.
One of those songs that if it sounds good in an audience, if you have a nice audience recording,
Yeah.
it really takes over the room in a really cool way. But I think the ideal way to listen to this is on soundboard, just because
100%.
especially those great versions you talked about in the late 90s, early 2000s really benefit from a lot of what Paige is doing on the synthesizer and some keyboard stuff Trey's doing, and just a lot of under the surface. This is a song that, like, for me feels so much of a specific era of Phish. Like, it's the
Yeah.
opposite problem to Down with Disease. Down with Disease fits every era of Phish history, it seems like, from 94 onward. 2001, for me, whenever I think of it, I really think of kind of a 5-year stretch in the late 90s. I don't know if you guys get this, because you mentioned, like, the fourth quarter slide. That's kind of what it feels like it's known for now, is it kind
Yeah.
of kicks off the party 30 minutes to close out a certain type of show. Do you guys think of this as, like, a part of Phish history, like longer Phish history, even with how much it's been played? Or do you think of it more isolated?
Yeah, I definitely think when I think of this song, my favorite versions always tend to be historical versions, except for one. But this song to me, it's party Phish. And I think that it's like the best when Phish was in like a super party mode. And so I think that they play it a lot because it's probably really fun to play, and it also injects like a bit of energy into a set, into a room. And I think that maybe if they're not sure what to play, or they're just deciding like we've slowed down, let's pick up, they'll often play a 2001, which sometimes is not the right call, it seems like. But yeah, I definitely feel like it to me, it's really great for opening a second set because it's so cinematic and it has that kind of like building up feeling. To me, it really reminds me of the book Orbital that we talked about on Library Card, because it's so kind of otherworldly and has that feeling of like looking down on Earth, and it feels kind of majestic. And I think that it also speaks to that time when Fish was really playing so much with tension and release. And I think that's, to me, what makes it feel like older Fish as well, because it's so like of that era when Fish was doing so much of that, building something up and then exploding it, and building something up and exploding it again.
Seawell notes here. It's one of the ultimate "what do we play" songs.
Exactly.
Kind of, what do we do? You mentioned this as well. I think that's a really good point. And Vajrapani notes, if 2001 drops the right time in the right set, it really happens. And I think that that is true even of today, because there are some really killer versions into the 4.0 era,
Oh, yeah.
especially in 2021 and 2024. There were two of note that were played kind of in the perfect spot and in the perfect way. And they really elevated a set in a way that you hadn't seen in a long time, which was cool. RJ, what do you think? Does
Yeah.
2001 fuck your brain up the way that Moore does? Or are you kind of just like, time to get a beer because we're almost ready to go out to Shakedown? What are your feelings on this song?
I mean, almost always these days, it's sort of just the beginning of the end, which is sad to say,
Yeah.
but it's true. So it's like, cool, 6 minutes of this, great. I think that this is a kind of a historical jam vehicle. You know, some of these versions from the 1.0 era are awesome. There's some others, you know, we'll talk about, but yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's hard for me to like in the moment. It's great, but like if I see 7 minute, down with Disease is a huge jam, and then there's like a couple other songs, and then there's like a 2001 for 6 minutes toward the end of a second set. You're like, all right, well, I guess that's that. So I don't know. I think it's fine. If that's how it exists now, but also listening to all these versions, it's if you look at the diversity of jamming in these songs, you look at like on the one end of the spectrum, you have Down with Disease and Bathtub Gin. Kind of in the middle or even toward this end are like Harry Hood, or Reba or something, where like, the jams are like mostly the same with some diversity. And then at the very end, I think is 2001, which is like, they're almost all the same. There's like some variations in different parts, but like, you could make a playlist of these without any breaks and it would just sound like this, like one long track for 7 hours, So
Yeah, there's only
which
like
is
a
fine.
couple ways that it can go, right? It's like it
Yeah.
can either like be like really focused on the anticipation and the build up and play with like effects and kind of like build tension for a long amount of time and then explode it and then go to a different space, or it's
Yeah.
just like really focused on the groove and it's super tight and it's just about like slipping into that groove and just riding it. But I do want to say what I was going to say next, which is what Forbin 777 brought up, which is this is a song though that in the moment, even if it's 12:30, 24, when I'm on the floor and I hear this song and I'm at a show, I'm so happy because that means I can just dance super hard with my friends. And it reminds me of all the times that I've looked across at my friend Nina and we're just like, let's go. It's 2001. Like we get to really get down. And so it's a song that in the room, like you said, RJ, I'm always happy to hear, even if it's killing my set because it's fun. And also I kind of knew at that point that the set was over anyway, but it's definitely fun in the moment. It's just not the best listening back if it's gonna blow it up like that.
Yeah, it's interesting because you mentioned this, Forbin mentioned this. Perfect Speller has a really good note here. 2001 is a song that gets to showcase CK5's contributions to the Fish experience. I don't think that there's a better pure song that showcases what he does than 2001. I remember when I was first getting into Fish, and the guy who was kind of guiding me through that process and giving me tapes and telling me stuff was like, you have to see Fish inside of an arena when they play 2001. There's nothing like it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I'm
I love
pretty
that.
sure the one time I had that experience initially, I'm pretty sure it was Vegas 2004. Unless I'm blanking and they didn't play 2001. And that was not a Chris Kuroda light rigged run. And I remember just being like, what the fuck? I lost out. But It's interesting you explain it because I am on the side, as everyone knows, of like I'm overly analytical in the shows, and so like if 2001 comes into a perfect show for me, it's kind of like okay, we're into the fourth quarter now, like nothing's going to come.
Yeah.
Which I was proven wrong in Mexico, which I was very happy about. Amazing version on our list. But it's interesting to me because Meg, you described it so well. It is like Fish's ode to film history. This is Kubrick. This is 2001, like one of my favorite movies of all time. This is Being There. This is Peter Sellers. This is like that very cinematic 70s groove. I should love this, and I think if I see this in Boulder, I'm going to try to
You're gonna
embrace
embrace
the
it?
entire moment,
Yes.
in hopes that that division between analytical Fish and cerebral or just in the moment body high Fish gets blurred a little bit more. So
You're gonna put your
check
hands
back
in
with
the
me.
air and you're just
No.
gonna like let the
No.
white lights wash over you and you're
No,
just gonna be
that
like,
won't be happening. I'm just going to try to be happy.
okay, I'll do that for you when I see it.
Okay, so Megan, are you ready?
Not really, but yes, let's go. Let's just do it. I'm gonna just go with what I'm feeling in the moment because I overthink these things way too much.
This is what I'm talking about. This is the blur of analytical and in the moment Fish.
Here we
Just
go.
embrace it here.
I'm gonna embrace it.
Become your very own Chauncey Gardner. Come on.
Yep. Whatever you just said, I agree. I agree. Sure. I don't know who
If
Chancey
you haven't seen
Gardner
Being
is.
There, I cannot recommend it enough.
I
My
haven't.
goodness.
I
You
haven't.
need to watch it. Okay, you will love
Really?
it. Peter Sellers is amazing.
Okay, I'll add it to my list. Okay, for our first Mount Rushmore, are we ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
I'm ready.
Oh yeah,
I'm ready
big
to
time.
go.
Okay. This one was up for massive debate and actually was off my list for a while, and I felt really strongly about this being off my list. But I did an incredible amount of A/B testing and finally settled on this. So we are going as far north as you can go and still be in the United States of America. We're going to a former Air Force base in Maine, the location of a nude photo shoot to one of the greatest fish shows of all time. We're going to go deep in set 2 on a 3-set evening. The Down with Disease, the Gin, and the Hood from this set are already on Mount Rushmore. So we're going to make this entire set, besides Uncle Pen, on Mount Rushmore, crowning it HF Pod certified, one of the best sets of all time. We're going right before the Art Jam. We are, of course, going to 8/17/97 to the Went 2001. Okay.
Wow.
I had this off my list for a long time because, first of all, it is not obviously it's not been released archivally, which is, I don't even want to talk about that. But you have to listen to this on re-listen. You have to listen to one of the best fish shows of all time, not on Fish's own app, which is just crazy. There are no live baits of 2001 either, which is interesting. No live baits, not a single one.
Whoa.
Which is crazy. Yeah. But this version, it's the first one to go really big. And it has this looping sirens, super jazzy intro, and it has a mellow groove. The first jam is really mellow and really graceful and effortless. And it can trick you into thinking it's kind of tame. And after, Alaska. Sorry about that. That's true. It's not the most north you could be. I should have said the continental US. Excuse me.
Got to be specific.
Yeah. Next time. Sorry about that. All the Alaska fans. That was totally wrong.
This is fucked up.
It's fucked up. After the first peak, you land in one of these trademark 97 grooves. It's so smooth. The guys are like yelling, yeah, over it and just feeling it. It glides along. And you just jump on back and watch the scenery go by. It's super hypnotizing. And I do think that there are other grooves that are tighter in other 2001s, but there's something so 97 about this. And I think if it was on archivally released, it would sound even better. But the way that it bleeds into the art jam and Trey making the speech about art and an energy exchange between the audience and the band, it's so magical. And I just think that it's a moment in history and the context of this is really important. So despite musically me thinking there are better 2001s, I decided that this had to be on there.
This is our first gold tinted set of this project. Something we weren't even considering when we dove
No.
into this, but yeah, 8/17/97 set 2. Oh my god, what a set. 4 jams are all Mount Rushmore. Uncle Pen will give you the honorable mention here.
Exactly.
So I just made a late breaking change to my list because you made such a great argument. This was my honorable mention, but you're right. I think this is the call. I know we're not supposed to reveal our list till later, but just for talking point standpoint, you have 2001 is ultimately to me a 1998, 1999 song.
Totally.
But I think that it comes out of this thing that was happening in the late summer tour, that coalescing of the sound, the groove, and you hear it in such a raw form in this. Plus, the fact that we now have the Rushmore Gold set. Come on, this is it.
I was kind of too excited to not do that. I felt like it would be kind of sad.
It just fits.
Yeah.
RJ, do you have any opposition here? Are you okay?
No, yeah, no, it's on my list too.
It is? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think like the weekend and the set, the vibes are it's just too much,
Too many
just
vibes.
too much and you can't really ignore it, you just can't, it's all just so awesome. And I do think there's so much to this set that, I mean, we just have to put the Uncle Pen on there too, but
Mhm.
the last 5 minutes are awesome, but like the really long intro and the whole thing is just it's just magic, it's pure magic.
It really is.
It made Trey yelling at his bandmates at the end of set 1 the night before just all worth it. We played a
Hey,
bad
man.
set.
Hey
We
man,
played a
it's
bad
hard,
set. It's really
It's
hard.
hard.
80,000
hard.
people show up and you start to play like there's 80,000 people here. That's not, by the time they got to this set, they were just playing in the living room. They didn't care. It was awesome.
I know. It's gonna be on there, and Trey will finally get his validation that the Great One was great now that this happened.
now
Um,
that it's been
n-
HF Pod certified.
Exactly. So it's certified. It's all there. All right. I mean, I think so that means we all have it.
Yeah.
We all have
I
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Confirmed.
As of an hour ago. Yeah.
Great. This is a good one. It's a good one to start with. Okay. What do you got next?
Well, before you go, we just have to highlight the chat because we have a debate going
Yeah.
on right now
Oh, we
over
do?
whether or not Limestone,
what?
Maine is the furthest north you can go in the
Shit.
continental United States. And
No, I shouldn't have
we
said
got
that. It was a bit
gotta give a
hyperbolic, guys.
Got to give a shout out to Incredible Perp here. Limestone, Maine is located further north than George Washington. Specifically, Limestone's location is 45.55 north latitude, while
Yes.
George's is 41.13 north latitude. If any one of our dedicated listeners would know the longitude and latitude of specific fish venues, it's Perp.
AKA
I love
Trey.
it.
This is going great. This is going great. Okay. What,
Do you think we should do a geography podcast
In
as well?
Brian's
Yeah.
dreams. In Brian's
I
dreams.
we could get pretty far on that. Megan, what do you got? What do you got next?
Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is tough. I'm skipping over one of my favorite 2001s of all time. But I am taking you to the birthplace of rock and roll, the home of the blues, the home of Elvis. We're going to the heartland of this country on the Mississippi River. We are going to Memphis. We're going to the Pyramid Arena on Trey's birthday. We're going to the second song in the second set, the only real jam of the show, but what a killer show. They've got a Mike's Groove with a catapult and a Kung in it, something they could have done Monda Green Day for. But there is this 2001, and in my opinion, there are all other 2001s are beneath it. We are, of course, going to 9/29/99, the Pyramid Arena in Memphis. This version, the driving undercurrent in the intro, it's so psychedelic, so haunting, it's totally terrifying. You've got that die, die, die section. It's got this long, absolute, close your ears if you don't like F words. It's a mind fuck of an intro. Layers and layers of sick soundscapes. When they bring back the intro effects during the build again, it's so killer. And then it gets so funky with Mike it's laying down the sickest bass line. The audience starts clapping. Trey goes off on his soloing. To me, this jam has the best narrative arc of any of the versions. It's a boarding spaceship. You go off and then you come back down again. To me, this is the best 2001 that there is. And yes, I had to skip a really, really great one.
I think this is the best 2001 that's ever been played. I'm also in shock.
Wow.
I am skipping one that was on my list until a little bit ago. And I'm pretty sure that people aren't going to like what I skipped it for, but I just made the decision and I like it.
It's the best 2001. The whole like intensity and the number of effects used is what makes it like way better than other versions. And it's just like, and it makes the peak bigger, you know, like
Yeah.
the cool shit they do makes the peak bigger and better. And actually, Brian, before you say more about your shock, if you want to, we did get a voicemail about this specific issue. So I want to ask you guys a question
Whoa.
in the form of a voicemail, because I think it's important to talk about this. Okay, here we go. Let's see if this works.
This is just some amazing in-show pivoting and production. I'm
know,
blown away by this,
Guys,
RJ.
Been doing this for a long time. Doing this a long time. Real veteran.
Hey guys, this is Tad calling from Brooklyn. Just wanted to say first and foremost how much I've been loving the Rushmore series so far. I love listening to y'all every week, and addition to that, it's been giving me a way to listen to Fish that I really haven't been able to listen to, or not haven't been able to, but haven't quite gone about listening to Fish, in the sense that I've never really put a ton of the same versions of songs together and listened back to back in this way. And it's just been a blast. After all these years, still discovering new ways to listen to this incredible band. So thank you for that. I wanted to pose a question to you all relating to this episode, which I believe will be the 2001 Mount Rushmore discussion. And that is, on a conscious or subconscious level, how soundboard recordings versus audience recordings potentially affect how you might rank your own versions for putting Rushmore versions together. I found this in a big way when I was listening through the list you put together for 2001, in particular with some of the 97 versions, such as the Went version. I found that immediately being like one of the ones like, I got to put that in my Rushmore. But then listening to, say, the November 19th version, which is an audience recording, and that being really, you know, a kind of muddy and not an ideal listening situation, it was a lot tougher to be like, you know, this might be just as good and kind of classic 97 funky gooey like the Went version. But because, you know, it was so kind of muddy in the mix, hearing the nuances of that just made it that much more difficult to determine. I definitely found that with 99 versions, the audience versions versus the soundboard version. So yeah, just curious if that's something that like you guys kind of struggle with when ranking, and would love to hear what you think about that. Thanks so much. You guys rock. Have a great one.
All right. So, you know, that it is, you know, that is where we are. we're in that.
Yeah, I
we're
mean-
in that crucible.
Yeah, I think he's absolutely right. I think I remember when 11/11/98 first dropped on Live Fish, and there's a gumbo in the second. I think it's the second song of the show. And I remember when I would listen to the audience recordings, I would kind of just be like, "Cool, it's just like a nice 13-minute gumbo." And then I listen to the soundboard, and there's suddenly so many layers to what Paige is doing under the surface that I had never appreciated or heard before. And I think that is the challenge with this era. The rooms were really big. There was a lot of nuance. Rob Mitchum writes about this a lot in his fantastic I don't know what he even calls the series, but he writes about every Fish show 25 years after the fact at his Substack. And he's in 2000, obviously, right now. And he talked a lot about this in 99, that a lot of these shows, if you don't have a quality recording, it's really hard to get a capture of what's happening. And I think 2001 is one of those songs that the Memphis version is a perfect example. All those effects that are layered in there, and there's just like, it's like 10 effects layered on top of each other that they're doing over the course of 21 minutes. When you hear that coming directly from the amplifiers, it changes everything. So I think, to his question, there's no way it doesn't affect, there's no way it can't affect us. I think that some of the great versions that we've selected that have been just audience recordings, you're going based off of reputation and how it sounds in the context, and it's being elevated in a lot of ways that way. Perhaps there are versions that we're listening through to that, had we heard the soundboard, Mr. Shapiro, we would potentially elevate it even further. I don't know. We don't have the soundboard, so we can't totally make that call, but it's a great observation.
It definitely hit me a lot during this song in particular. Listening to the Went version today, when I was listening to it on my way home from work and deciding to put it in, I realized that if this was on soundboard, it would be so much more compelling, just because you would hear how incredibly tight and smooth it is. And I do think the one thing this song benefits from with the audience versions is hearing the crowd during the peaks, because it's so electric listening to it. And that's exciting. I really appreciated the audience tapes for that. It just sounds so, you can feel your heart swelling and how joyous it is in the moments when those hits, when you're in the audience tapes. But I definitely feel that way. And I think I don't know if you want me to get into why I skipped Gorge or not now, if you want me to talk about that after, but that plays into it a little bit.
Well, we got to talk about the Gorge version at some point. I don't know when.
Without tipping my cap, we will talk about it at some point in this episode. So maybe we hold it off until there,
Yeah, we
because
can pause.
at some point I'm gonna have to berate you for what you've done here and hear your defense, and it's gonna have to be a good goddamn defense, so
Well, I'm just gonna tell
now
you
or
what,
later.
I'm pretty sure that it wasn't the right call, but I still feel like I wanted to do it. Because I'll explain why. I don't think it's gonna make you happy, but I'm not here to make anybody happy. I get to pick the Mount Rushmores this
Wow.
week.
You do. This is your response. This is all. Everything is on you.
Yeah.
You're
yeah.
right. I have to also, before we take a break here. Sorry, I don't mean to take these hosting duties from RJ, but I'm seeing the chat, and we've got to address both reality and also proper concessions, because in this day and age, when people make concessions about information and being wrong about something, it's something you have to applaud. Paunchy, shout out to you. Gorge is at 4707 north, and that, which is just going back up here. Where is it? Come on. Did I already lose this?
It seems like it.
I did. But anyway, Paunchy was correct. The Perps' first search for the geographical north of America was incorrect as limestone. He apologized. And carry on with the show here. Everyone's being candid and really nice and cordial in the chat. I just love it.
Well, I'm feeling good about the fact that I might have made only 2 errors. One of them might be really big, but only 2 errors in this episode so far. And I've only said TikTok once, so twice now.
Yeah.
So
Well, we're only halfway through, so you got plenty of time for both.
Great.
All right, we are going to take a break, but first I got to say that $929.99 is Scott Bernstein. I think it's his favorite show. It's definitely his favorite 2001. I think it might be his favorite show ever. He came on the podcast to talk about it, maybe in 2020. So hey, Scotty, he's a great dude, and I know he loves the show. Also, apparently
That's
that
awesome.
was the night before Trey's birthday. I mean, it definitely was because of how the calendar works, but apparently it was a crazy party and lots of people I know were there. And I think it just, again, kind of the peak of fish party time was this fall of 99. You can hear it. It's pretty sweet.
You can really get the feel for it. So this means that Meg was wrong about 3 things this episode. Just
oh
keep
yeah,
in
I
note.
said his birthday.
God.
Brian,
All
make
right.
sure
Well,
you keep track, okay?
I
Can
know,
you
we
keep
better-
track of
I
that
am.
for me. Thank
we
you.
better take a break before Megan makes more mistakes. But the last thing I want to say actually is that the podcast 99% Invisible did an episode about the pyramid, about this building.
No
like,
way.
like a few weeks ago, yeah. And it was about how it came to be and what happened to it. And there's like a mall in it and all kind of. It's a crazy episode and fun to listen to if you like that podcast, or if you don't, you should check it out.
It's a Bass Pro Shop now, right?
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, that's so
Love
sad.
it.
That's so sad.
That's
Also,
like the-
to be fair, I said that was Trey's birthday because RJ, you texted us that, and I didn't fact check you because I was just like, dude's probably right. I didn't
said
realize.
it was Trey's birthday celebration.
Excuse me.
Hey, I'm being specific. Language matters. No, because his birthday's the next day.
My gosh, I just can't get things right today.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you a
I always
breather.
celebrate my birthday the night before too, so I get it. That's a
Mhm.
good call.
It's his
Yeah.
birthday eve. Okay, great. By the time we get back, we'll sort this all out. We'll be right back. Okay. All right. Megan, are you ready to get back in it? Are you feeling confident?
I don't know. I'm actually ready because this is going to make I feel like everybody's going to get mad about this. And so I kind of am into it.
I'm ready to get mad.
I'm ready to get mad too.
You are?
I'm already
Okay, good.
mad, so this is
Mhm.
great.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Perfect.
I'm
So-
literally in shock right now.
Listen, I
Just keep
this
going. I've got
such a
I'm
last
just
minute,
in shock.
decision. And I told you, I don't know if it was going to be right. I think, well, we'll get into it later because I like the version I left off more than when I put on, but it's fine. Okay. So the next version that I'm going to put on, we have to go so far for this version. We're going to go, well, I'm not going to make some hyperbolic statement about how far things are because I've already made that and done it very poorly. But we're going to go really far from Memphis. We're going to go to a foreign land known for its ancient traditions and its modern technology, known for samurais and high-speed trains and the best fish you'll ever eat. A country where I stayed up all night dancing in Roppongi and ate ramen noodles at 4 a.m. We're going to Japan, to one of my favorite fish shows of all time. We're going to Live Fish Volume 4, the capstone final song of an epic 4-song second set with one of my favorite jams of all time. It's a shorter intro in this version, but I chose this version because of one band member who delivers so hard, and that is Mike Gordon. And I love they call it in the jam charts liquid nitrogen, Mike,
Mhm.
and I'm here for
Mhm.
that. It is so tight, this jam, and crystal clear, and it's so vibey, and Mike is just laying down that it's so liquidy and gooey and syrupy, and at the end when Trey's like, domo arigato, we had a great time tonight, it's awesome. So I don't think anybody else wants this in there, but I do. So sorry, Brian.
This is a pleasant shock. This is an
Really?
amazing, this is amazing set closer, amazing show. I'm pulling up the details right now. This was the first time that 2001 ever closed a set.
Great spot for it, by the way.
Great spot for it, by the way, has since gone on to close 4 additional second sets. 1-4 2003, 12-30 2003, 10-18 16, and 8-5 18. Always a really wild spot for it to close. It closes out a set in a really interesting way. This is super dreamy. I listen to this set every time I fly on a plane because I absolutely hate flying and it really calms me down. And I always fall asleep just because of the airplane sometime around walk away. And I always wake up when this starts. And it sets me at complete ease. This is an incredible version. Not on my list, but this is an incredible version.
Yeah, it's good.
Pleasantly
It's a
surprised.
continuation of the set, like you said, Megan. It's great. The sound of these shows is just totally unique and different.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and I think I really love Millennial Fish with 2001. Like I just think it's such a good marriage, and I also Drum's logo is just 614 2000 is one of my favorite shows of all time, and I think they'll have another song on there on Rushmore probably, but I liked this on there.
Yeah,
Number
I can't
3
argue with it.
favorite
I'm not
Fish
going to
song.
argue with it. I'm not going to argue with you.
It's a bold and interesting call. It makes me wonder where we're going. I think I know where we're going next, and it's going to be an interesting conversation following this. I did not pick 614 2000, but I think it fits your list very nicely, and I think it's a great 2001 that more people should hear.
All right, great. I'll take it.
Okay, you got one more. You have one more chance to impress and disappoint. Are you ready?
Okay, here we go. It's kind of fun to be not making people super happy. I don't know. I'm kind of enjoying it. It's not like I'm really a people pleaser by nature, and this is a diversion for me. It's kind of fun.
You're at the end of the year. You've got like limited fucks left to give.
Exactly. I've got my 0 fucks vibe. I've got like 10 more days of kids, students. I'm done with my report cards. Like, let's go. So for our last stop today on this journey, we are going to the birthplace of Elvis. I'm sorry, from the birthplace of Elvis, we're going to the home of Elvis impersonators, where Elvis can marry you. We're going to go to a desert oasis where you can see an aging singer perform, or gamble your money away, or get lost in a casino on acid in 1996 when you're there to see Fish. We're going to Vegas, baby. We are going to the majesty of fall 2021, to the opening song of the opening show of the Vegas run. I'll never forget staying up to watch the first set of 10/28/21 in Las Vegas and being sad that I had to go to bed and miss what was happening because it was so exciting to see what was unfolding. I don't think I've listened to any opening of any show more than I've listened to the first 30 minutes of this 2001 into 1999. I've spent hours running to this. It is so incredibly exciting. It's got a great, cool, vibey intro. But to me, what sets this version apart is just the pure dominance from the get-go. They know where they're going with this show and with this night. And this had to be so thrilling for them. And when you listen to this version, knowing what they're going to do, it's just fantastic. This is crisp dance party goodness. It's that tight fall 2021 playing, just delivering on an old classic Fish song and just crushing it. So I love this version, and I think it really is a nice 4.0 version to have on the list.
I just want to add a couple things. First of all, this is on my list. Someone earlier said that the most important things on HF Pod are language and geography are key at HF Pod. The other thing is context, from Brian Context Brinkman. And this show is like, the show is amazing. The context in which this is played is amazing. The effects are awesome. This is the third time since '96 that it opened a first set, which is crazy. But Page's work on this jam is just awesome, and it's just up tempo and fun and more like Trey on the main theme than usual, which I think makes it fun.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just like a little bit, when you listen to 15 of these in a row, like you notice those things, like you hear Trey like a little bit more active and actually playing the guitar, which usually doesn't do that much in this song. So I like it for that reason, but maybe the context is what does it.
It was a huge part of why I chose it. Yeah, it's just a special moment in Fish history, I think.
Yeah, I mean, coming at the end of that tour, every show, it felt like, was a build up from the night before. Chances were being taken, jams were being played that nobody considered possible anymore at that point in time. Plus, like, it was in a year when I think they could have played a very safe couple of tours and people would have been happy because they just
Mhm.
wanted live music again. Um, I remember sitting on my couch watching this and being kind of terrified for everybody in there because it just
Totally.
seemed like such a big deal to kick off a 4-night Halloween run, a very anticipated Halloween run. First time back in Vegas in 3 years with this and it being a 16-minute version. Um, yeah, I think contextually there's a lot of reason for it to be here. I'll get into my list here in a second. I guess I would just go back to what I said at the top. I kind of consider 2001 as like a snapshot in time
Mm.
versus something that has really lasted in the way that Down with Disease or what else on our list? Like a light that has stretched over 15 years. This kind of reminded me more as I listened through of like a Harry Hood, where there was like a time that this song was really, really perfect for Fish. And this version was a little bit more of an outlier, but perhaps that's a good reason
Mm.
to put this on. You know,
Well, that's kind of an interesting point to talk about because, you know, do you want to represent like the best versions when it was kind of in its heyday, or do you want to represent where it's gone, even if it's outside of its heyday? Right. Like, I think that that's something you're kind of wrestling with whenever you're picking these lists.
yeah, yeah, and I think it really just depends on the song is where I come down on. Like,
Mhm.
I don't see how you pick Down with Disease across 4 great versions. When I listen through 2001, it sounds like a late 90s song for me. It's interesting that it sounds more like a part of Fish history for you in that sort of sense that, we got this version. I think it's a great version to highlight, and for anybody who scoffs at 4.0 jamming, this is a good example of them taking a 90s song and really updating it with the effects and the style of jamming that they were playing at that point in time.
And
Yeah.
using it in a way that is contextually exciting. You know, I don't
Mhm.
think that without 2001, do they play the numbers show? I don't know. You know, like, I just think there are certain songs that have meant a lot for them that inspire them to do something like this.
That's a good point as well. The
I don't know.
song itself, the
Yeah,
title of the song impacted the gimmick.
I
Without
think so.
2001,
Mhm.
do we have like the Sci-Fi Soldier songs?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
And
then where
the,
would
you
we
know,
be?
it could have been in the second set somewhere, you know, later on, but the just using it as an opener was great and put a lot
Mhm.
of like I think backs up what you said, Megan, in terms of how important. They wouldn't have like played this first if they didn't feel confident that it would like set the tone for the show. Um, I'm just
Yeah, and
glad
if
that I
you
saw the next 3 nights and not this one. Just
yeah.
always happy
It's the
about that.
worst, the worst. I think if you haven't played this 2001 into 1999 lately, just do it when you need to like do something like you want to run through a wall. It's the energy is just it does not sound like a band in their whatever 38th year or something. It's just absolutely insane the energy.
Yeah.
It's an interesting show to miss in a run because it's not like, sorry to keep bringing up Mondegreen, but like the first night of Mondegreen was so good. And then the next
Yeah.
3 nights, there are some serious highlights. If anyone just saw the Woodlands Jam, I think you did all right. But and like we all liked parts of night 3.
Mhm.
Night 4 was a bit mm, um or day 4, I guess someone should say. Like this wasn't like you caught like 3 duds after this show, but
No
this is
way.
also so clearly the show of the run. Like I really love 1029.
Yeah.
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 But missing 1028, I think it would still impact me. I would think
Yeah.
about that too. I get it. It's a
Yeah.
great show.
Big deal.
It's a big
Okay.
deal.
Megan, good job. I will put these in the notes, Megan's picks, when I post the episode because people have asked me to do that. So but we do also have to get. Actually, I'll just do mine, Brian, so that you can bring it in. Also, Megan, I just want to say I think the one-liners or five-liners that you put together to introduce the versions was great. And Brian, I know you always do very long intros to your picks, and I usually just say the date. So sorry, but I
We all
appreciate
got
you
our own
guys.
styles.
I
Yeah, we
know,
got
I
our
just
styles. I actually forgot to
know.
say the date or the drums title of the Drums Logo show. So, it's okay.
I
I
just
just
want to be more like you guys.
I think that writing scripts for ourselves is after 10 years of doing this is probably the right way to go, just so that we say exactly what we want to say, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely big on that. Okay.
And if the
so
teleprompter doesn't work, you know what you can do?
what?
I'm like Biden. I need a teleprompter
can-
all the time.
You can say,
Yeah.
we'll do it live. We'll do it live.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so I had two in common with Megan. The went and three. Right, yes. The one and the Memphis and then the Vegas. The fourth I have, which is gonna make Brian so mad. I'm so happy
Yes.
about it. Is I went back and forth on this and two other versions. And the Gorge version actually was further down the list for me. So I might have just been
Oh,
missing something.
interesting.
But
Really?
yeah, but the what I decided was because I don't have like this to go on the official Mount Rushmore, I was just going to go with attendance bias. And the set 2 opener of my first show of Fall 97, which was 11/19, the venue is shaped like a spaceship. If you don't know that, Assembly Hall,
So
Champaign,
killer.
Illinois. This was a set 2 opener. I mean, it's kind of standard, but the first 10 minutes with like just the Fall 97 funk, the feeling
Yes.
and intensity in the room was just incredible. And then it gets more and more intensity until it builds into the main theme. It's just a great version, captures this tour perfectly. And I really just wanted to have a Fall 97 version on here because Fall
Yes.
97 kind of captures that feel. So that was my fourth.
Oh my God. I love that version. I definitely had that as a starred version too. Like the reverb and the synthy effects on the downbeats they're doing is just so killer. And then it's like knowing it's right before that Wolfman stew that's like 30
Yeah.
minutes long. It's just
Yeah.
so awesome.
It's crazy.
Also, the isolated Fishman start-stop drumming at the beginning,
Yeah.
where
Yeah,
there's no intro. It's just a
Yeah.
and then like they
So
come
good.
in. Oh man, like the way that sounds coming through the whole venue. That's a really cool venue. I've only ever seen basketball there. I've never seen Fish play there, but it's a very, very cool spot. I considered that version, not because of attendance bias. I was 12. My mom was not going to give me the keys to go down to Champaign, Illinois. Unfortunately. So I just don't get it.
Yeah. Fair.
But I
But you
love,
do get it,
love
Brian,
that
though.
version. I do.
You do get
Yeah,
it.
you get it.
We
get it.
all know this. Someday they're going to be like, hey, we should release a box set of Fall 97. And then someone's going to be like, oh, but we've already released half the shows. And they're going to be like, shut up. We should release a box set of Fall 97. And we're going to get
God,
it.
yes.
And it's going to be awesome
It's true.
because that whole tour should, like,
Yeah.
I know we are not alone here. We have done the full re-listen to that tour in accordance to the dates from time to
Mhm.
time, and it's a
We
very
have.
fun activity to
have.
do. It's a great tour that works in
Mm.
that sort of way. If you haven't, I cannot recommend it enough. It is so choice.
So choice, as
So
another
choice.
Midwesterner would say.
Brian, what do you got?
Yeah, what's your list? Where did I go
Well,
wrong, Brian?
Well, I'm really shocked that you left one off. I am shocked you left the Gorge off. So I
Me
went
too.
back and forth with my first pick. I went back and forth between 8/17/97 and 4/4/98.
Love,
4/4/98 is my favorite 2001 ever. And I ultimately decided that's not a good enough reason to have it be on a list. It can be my favorite version and not a Mount Rushmore version. And Meg, your argument about 8/17/97 was so compelling that I swapped that. So
Wow.
8/17/97 is number one. I think you guys are right about that. Great long intro, the James Brown super funk stuff at the end. I do think it's a little bit over reliant at times on the art jam that comes after, but it's also a 22-minute jam that then leads into
Yeah.
that. I think we're good.
Totally.
So my number 2 version is Gorge 98. So tell me why you took this off, because to me this is
Yeah.
the archetypal 2001.
Yeah. I mean, I think so. This is probably what I should have done. What I should have done is had the Went, the Gorge, Memphis, and Vegas 21. I think that would have been the perfect list. But the reason I took it off, first of all, it was on my list until like an hour before we recorded, is okay. I think this is perfect. It's the fuzzy airplane hangar intro. It's got the syrupy rich funk jam. I think the funk jam is tighter and more sophisticated than the Went. It's just, to me, the second jam is better than anything at the Went as far as in 2001, because it gets so contemplative and beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful and interesting second jams in any 2001. So I think it has the same vibe as the Went gin. It's just a kind of a better version, but I felt like the context of the Went, of the Went 2001. I think the context of Went, and it was really compelling to me to have that whole scent on Mount Rushmore. And I think the context of that, it's so similar to the Gorge. And even though musically I think the Gorge is better, I went with context and
How do
picked
you
the
take that
Went.
off?
Yeah, and I do think that probably I should have taken Drums Logo off instead of the Gorge, but I thought the Gorge and Wen are so, they're like a year apart. And if I had 3 from 97, 98, 99 on there, I don't know. I really wanted to give a nod to like that 2000s fish, which I love so much. So I think it's just personal preference. And I do think that I probably made an error in leaving Gorge off. I will concede that.
I don't think
Well,
you
I don't
gotta do
want to.
that.
Yeah, I don't want to accuse you of an error. I more just wanted to know. I think it's an interesting. So what my approach to this was, I thought of there is a, because I think your rationale here makes a lot of sense now that you explain it. Whereas, and I'm just going to use Disease because I think it's the best example of this, of the counter of this. Down with Disease has so many different varieties of what it can be.
Yeah.
And the ultimate versions of what makes it great, to me, is kind of a slight adjustment one way or the other on this 20 to 25 minute long jam that is both rockin' and funky and spacious and melodic and kind of does a lot of different things. Whereas 2001, there's short versions, there's medium-sized versions, and then there's long versions. And to me, the best versions are the long 22 to 25 minute long versions that all kind of sound the same, but showcase the band in different eras, which is what I went with. And so I'll keep going. And I think you kind of went with a more of a diverse 2001 approach. Let's have a long one. Let's have one that is a little bit more energetic. Let's have one that's a little bit different from the rest. And you ended up with the list that you ended up with, which we all interpret this differently. A different person would have put James Madison on Mount Rushmore. James Monroe too. I wouldn't have agreed with it, but there's an argument to be made based on impact that you should have put Andrew Jackson on there. If you don't like Corruption, maybe Benjamin Harrison. There's people we could have put on there.
So true.
That are not who we did. So it's all about interpretation.
So true.
So I've got Went, I've got Gorge. I'm not hosting the show, so I need to just keep moving. I apologize, guys. My next one, I am shocked you did not include this. And I'm thinking you overthought the attendance bias aspect of this. My take. You can defend yourself if I'm wrong here. 7/7/2000 Charlotte, or 7/7/99.
It's on
Excuse
yours.
me, Charlotte.
It's on your list.
That's on my list.
Fuck, I know. Tell why you had it, and then I'll tell you why I didn't.
Well, I just think that it does this thing that so I have a 97, a 98, and 2 99s because I just think that those 3 years are the best years for 2001. They're the best for what this song can do. And 7/7/99 is this kind of middle ground between the deep space kind of ambient weirdness that was coming out of 2001's in 98 and the more groove heavy danceable dance party versions that we were getting by the end of 99 and into 2000. And when I listen back to it, I remember we did that show for 40 for 40. I'm just trying to think of series we've done now for 40 for 40, that was our 99 show. And I remember being blown away by that 2001. And when I listened back to it again, I was like, in the context of 2001, it really works.
Yeah, this is kind of heartbreaking because this was on my list for a while. And I chose that for our 40 for 40. And I love doing that episode because it made me realize what a special show that was. And this version to me is like the best of the 97 dance parties with the 98 ambience, with the like nothing left to lose, the 99s. Like it just, to me, it's perfect and I love it. But I really did think that maybe it was because I was there or just we had just covered it, or I don't know. I think this one could have gone instead of Drums Logo. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It just sometimes
They're
you
all
get
the same,
too
guys.
deep in these. No, sometimes you just get like too deep in these and you don't really know what to do, and it's a real problem.
They're all kind of the same.
Have you ever listened to
Just
RJ
saying.
Neil Young and Crazy Horse's "You're the Horse"?
Yes.
So it opens. I don't have to tell you this, but I'm just going to tell the audience. It opens with, the crowd noise 'cause it's a live set, and you hear from the crowd, a fan yells, "They all sound the same." And Neil comes to the mic and he goes, "It's all one song."
Yeah.
And then they bust into "When You Dance You Can Really Love."
Yeah. I mean, well, it's
I'm
kind
in
of
a
and I think
Neil
that's the
Young
same with
diet right
2001.
now.
That's, you need to listen to "Year of the Horse." That is,
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
not
there
there
were
yet. I'm going.
5
I've heard
Young.
it, but not in a very long time. So I'm on
there were like
I'm on a
there were like
chronological
4
process.
versions that I could have put on the top, that just didn't make it for whatever reason. But they're all pretty similar.
Well, and so wrapping it up, my final one is 9/29/99. Best 2001 ever
Best one.
dance party.
Yeah.
Yeah, just killer stuff.
That one is so killer. I also think that if I had 7/7/99 on archival release, I would know more, and I would probably have chosen it. Like that
That's a
one,
fair
you
point.
really, it's fuzzy, it's hazy, and you need it to hear what's really going on. I want that show to be released so badly.
I would say
Brian,
Summer 99 is another one of those tours. I mean, it has 7/25/99, which I don't know why that hasn't been released
on.
yet. It needs to be, but I would put 7/7/99 there too. Yeah, RJ, sorry.
That's okay. The 4498 was the first one that came off of my list. Also, attendance bias. I was at the Island tour, just so you guys know. The
Space Funk perfection.
that right in between the birds of a feather and then like the vocalizing at the end into brother, like that is just it's
It's so good. That's
it's
like
really
a good
great.
vocal jam.
It's really great.
That's a good vocal
really
jam. I listened to that one again today to be like, am I crazy not to have this on there? Because it's so good.
They're all the same. They're all the same. Can I just tell you guys? Can we just go talk about the audience's picks and then we can see what else we need to talk about?
Yeah, there's one version that's not on my list. None of you have mentioned that. I got 5 text messages about why it's on my list. I'm curious if it's on the audience
Really?
list.
I have an honorable mention. I have one honorable mention that we haven't talked about.
The
Let's see if it's
audience
the same.
list is 8/17/97, 4/4/98, 7/17/98, 9/29/99.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
and a very small number of votes for 7/7/99, which is crazy.
Wow. Oh
I
my
know.
gosh. I can't believe I doubted myself so much with that one. That's interesting.
Gotta follow your heart. Okay, which one do you guys want to talk about last that you're just shocked is not on anyone's list? Or honorable mention?
Meg, why
or
don't you
whatever?
go?
Yeah, I think 12/29/98 is just
That's it.
so unbelievable. I was at this show, just telling everybody. This show is just, or this version is just so great. Comes out of that Limb by Limb jam. It has like a Twin Peaks super eerie intro vibe. It's so patient. It just establishes such a mood. They're so in the zone. It feels like they're so attentive and listening so well. And after 5 minutes, Fishman starts the 2001 beat, but the rest of the band keeps in that ambient space. It's so good. And then they slowly each find their way to the song. And I love this version.
Yeah, the intro to this is really special and really sounds like 98. I think I ultimately those two summer 99 summer 99 and fall 99 versions I just felt like I had to have on there. And so if I
Yeah.
was going to have only 198, it was either going to be Island Tour or it was going to be Gorge.
Agreed.
Well, guys, this is just a lot of fun as always. We really did it. We have another episode next week, which is Carini. Brian's going to be choosing. We have
That's hard.
I think
guess
that's
what?
you are choosing.
Good. Great. I'm going to be choosing.
Breaking news.
We did it. We did it. We finally figured out who's choosing next week, and it's me. Don't worry, I will get my list done before we record. And okay. One thing I want to say is if you go to osirispod.com/Rushmore, guess what you will be able to do right now? You'll be able to vote on your top 4 versions of Carini.
Mm,
Wow, that's
It's
so exciting.
just what I do for the people. Okay. We sounds like okay, perfect speller. I like all the host lists, just need more swearing from Brian and RJ. I can do that. I'll bring the heat next time. Megan, I think that's about you.
I know I can't. So I shouldn't swear as much, but you should swear more. This is
Well, I think
The
we
men-
just
the-
I think we just
the
need
men
balance.
the men can swear. I think that's what we're getting here.
I think
The
it's
men
more
can
just we need
swear.
balance.
You need to speak a little bit, more proper is what we're talking
exactly more demure. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think
about.
but if you're going to do it the same amount, then we have to amp ours up. I think that's the lesson. Okay.
I like that vibe better, to be honest.
I think we should just go with a baseball manager approach of just like, hey
What's
guys,
that?
we're just gonna speak the way we want to fucking speak, and you're gonna fucking
Yeah.
deal with it. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that. I'm
There
just
we
gonna
go.
pick Drum's logo if I want to. I don't care. I'm just gonna
Yep.
do it.
Perfect Speller asks what our favorite map projections is, and I just want to give a big shout out to the Robinson projection, which gives you
Mhm.
all of Antarctica and a big oceanic spread. Not really the Mercator kind of guy here. Gall Peters looks a little bit too stretched out. I'm here for Robinson.
My favorite map I saw today was a map that the 3rd grader in my class drew of the roof of our playground, and he walked me through it, and it was pretty sick.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
I'm like super agnostic on maps.
Agnostic.
You just don't like the existence that you know where you're going. What
No, I
is
think
it?
they're good. They're great. I'm grateful to have them, and that's it.
I'm pretty into maps.
I know. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
Could just like spend all day just like looking at it, kind of wondering where I'm going and thinking things through and all that.
I love that.
Well-
I miss having like physical maps. That was one of the things that I remember about going on Grateful Dead tour was like having huge things of maps in the car with us and like using them. That was pretty cool.
My son guides us in his road atlas when we take road
Oh my
trips.
God, that's
Little
really
does he know
cute.
that I know it's just you jump on I-80 and you get to Denver. But
That's
Yeah.
so
Fun.
cute.
That's great. Look at this. We're all doing extremely fun stuff and wholesome things here on this podcast. Okay, so we have Carini next week. Apparently, I'm choosing, so I'll be ready for that. And besides that, I think we've kind of done it. And
Oh,
Megan,
we also have
Oh,
an episode of
shit.
Library Card next week.
we do,
Yeah,
do.
people should listen to that.
but not
And you
this
know
week.
what? People have been leaving us reviews about
People
Library
have.
Card.
have
We
they?
have
Have
Apple
been.
reviews on Library
Mhm.
Card. Yeah.
Beautiful.
And they're really
Yeah.
positive. They're
We just
awesome.
launched a film podcast within a podcast, and when RJ's out of town, Megan and I will probably be bolstering Blockbuster Card with like 16 different episodes.
I don't know
We
why
are.
that why
It's
what
the
why
summer.
that would
I'm not
make
working.
sense.
I'm just going to be so wanting to podcast all the time.
That's it.
I don't know why would you do that while I'm gone?
Well, we just have like a backlog of movies that we've got to get through. I want to do it with you. I just
All right.
I
you
do
got to watch
too.
the movies.
Sure, guys. All right, you guys go have fun without me. Have fun on your movie podcast.
Never.
Have you watched Paris, Texas yet?
I'm about to.
Thank
You
you. There we
better.
go. There we go. There we go. We're holding off the podcast until RJ's back.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week. If
See you
Brian and
guys.
Megan start another podcast without me, just keep an eye out for them on social media. All right. All right,
Corinne's
guys.
gonna get you.
Follow Brian on his Instagram.
Yep.
Bye,
See you
guys.
next week.